up a seat, let your guard slide down. We're laughing, we're learning, we're holding you down. Welcome to the spill room, where the truth feels good and the vibe stays smooth. Lean in, tune in, let your heart make moves. Welcome to the spill room. You're locked in now. Let's get into it.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday. Happiest of Fridays. So, what's been happening, my little queens? It's been a week break for us all. Well, I've had a fun week playing psychic games with my partner. Without us knowing we're playing psychic games. What? How does it work? It started, we were doing it naturally anyway, and I didn't really realise until we both decided to read the same book. Well, I should say I decided to read the same book as him. So we both thought we'd read The Shining. Being long distance, you want to do things together. So I'm reading The Shining, and there is a young boy in it who's really psychic, and he's in trouble, and there's a chef on the property who goes away and says, okay, if things get bad, you can psychically call out to me and I will come and I'll be there. And that's exactly what happens. Dad starts killing, all that sort of stuff. And the chef gets the psychic call and he turns up. And I thought about my partner and I. We do that a lot. We communicate telepathically a lot. We know exactly what each other is doing. And it made me think about all the relationships that we have where you're so close to someone that you can feel them when they're away from you, particularly mothers and kids. And I thought you really have to love the person. And I wondered, have you ladies had any experiences where someone is away from you but you can literally feel them? Like when he's asleep, I can feel him. When he goes to sleep, I will literally be so tired. I'll be with a client and all of a sudden I just want to go to sleep. And I've got to be like, not now, Texas. I've got work to do because if I'm feeling him, I'm gone. And he's the same with me. He messaged me this morning, got off the plane, and he was like, I was asleep with you. I was out. So we know what each other's thinking. We'll say the same thing, do the same thing. We know where we're at. We do naughty things psychically. We joke about that, But you can actually reach someone telepathically. You can send someone great love and they can feel it. You can send them a message and they can get it. Do you know it's like when someone calls you and you just think about them 2 minutes before.
And then they call.
Yeah. Or you walk into a room and you know the energy of that room. You'll be driving somewhere and feel all of a sudden so sad or so down, and you get there and everyone's sad. Our energy precedes us everywhere we go. And I was just curious with our listeners, if they have these experiences and maybe aren't aware of it. We're just sometimes not aware that it's happening. But I thought, have you ever had an experience where you've just either felt, especially as sisters, have you ever felt each other or even like the mum?
Yeah. I had the worst heartburn.
Yeah.
We all have this week. But not this week. It was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then the next morning, I think we're coming to do the podcast. And then I said, I had the worst heartburn. I had to sit up in bed. It was like 3 hours of just heartburn, which I hardly ever get. And that was I had the worst heartburn last night. So I thought maybe I would check it. And then Mum had it as well, I think.
Yeah, we have seen a night when having it ever since Nat's when you complaining about it, and mine's just gone full hog.
It's so
Wow. Mum had that when I was in labour.
Yes.
She was getting cramps or
I was experiencing labour pain before she started going into labour because I rang her in the morning and I said, are you okay? She goes, oh, my God, Mum. I said, well, I had a feeling you were going into labour because all night last night I felt like I was going to go into labour. And
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And then the other day, it's funny you bring it up.
Oh, yeah.
We're driving to work and we both were talking and I said to her, oh my God, Sienna, I said last night my hip, which I don't normally have hip issues, but I felt like it was grinding, like literally no matter how I turned it was rubbing and I was in a lot of pain. And she goes, so did I. Oh my God.
And I do have that. When we used to go to Pilates, my hips would click and stuff, when I do stuff. And then Mum didn't really had it, but then it would start happening.
So I said, so am I just feeding off you? I said, because this is not normal for me to have this hip pain.
But isn't that something to do with you being like an empath?
Yeah.
Do you both need to be empaths? Well,
It sounds terrible.
she said
It was something cool.
we all are that. No, you know what? The word empath is fine. I think it's when people use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the way it can sometimes be used. I think it's love. I think you love someone so much that when they're in pain or they're in need, you literally feel them.
And you know what? Sorry, no.
Yeah.
It's the same, the more I'm thinking about it, I get that even with Dom.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
how many times has it happened where he's had a sore ankle or whatever he's
Yep.
feeling? I will then say, oh my God, I'm feeling this. And he'll go, oh, that's been me all day. So yeah, I think so. And even the phone calls and somebody then calling, I think it's a pretty common thing. I reckon everyone goes through
What
it.
about the time? Well, I was going to say every time I have a headache, Jared has a headache, and he doesn't. He goes, "Oh, you just have to have a headache." So I have a headache. But what about the time when Noah got that thing in his eye in the morning? This is a good one.
Yeah.
So I was playing with Noah, and I was up close around with Mum, and Noah got a packet of wipes, and he got it in my eye, and it really
Oh,
scratched my
gosh.
eye for about 5 minutes. I was like, "Oh shit!" I didn't want to open my eye. Anyway, I went to fine. And then Jared called me later on in the day, but he actually got
A
a
workplace
few bits of
injury.
a few bits of wood in his eye.
Oh,
Had to go to hospital
no.
to get it out. So then Mum goes, "Do you remember in the morning your eye? I cut your eye."
I said, I think that was a
Things like that.
premonition. Something's going to
Yeah.
happen to his eye.
Yeah. I have a theory that it's, when they say like a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah.
I think when you really love someone, in some way you take part of that. But I think about my partner and my kids and the things I feel that they feel, and I don't want to cut it out. Like if they're hurting, I'm happy to feel it.
It's to share it.
Yeah, because I actually do feel like if I'm sharing it, I'm taking some of that from them.
And do you not
Yeah.
also think that's one way to look at it?
Yeah.
But I'm also think it's a way that you can then empathize
Absolutely.
with how they're feeling. Because sometimes
Yeah.
when someone is experiencing, whether it's a great thing or a negative
Yeah.
thing, having that other person relate to it and be relatable just enables that, communication space to work better.
That is such a good point.
But on
Absolutely.
this topic, it's funny because my topic for the day
What's that?
Is
is
your
this
kidding?
side. We're having our connections again.
I love it.
Is things happen for a reason.
Oh, I love this.
And do we relate to it in a negative way or a positive way? Like, how should we respond to things happening for a reason?
Mhm.
So, to give you all the backstory, coming off the back of the last week episode, Mary, where we were talking about Nono popping in, the
Yeah.
spirit guiding us and, appearing out of nowhere or, the shadows. And you were explaining your view on it.
Yeah.
Which was that he's generally probably around to sort of, be there for if something happens and guide, and be there. And you brought up Nonna Anna
Yeah.
that he was seeing changes. Well,
Yeah.
just want to let the audience know Nonna Anna had a stroke 2 days later.
Yeah. Straight after you said
literally
that.
2 days after the podcast, she was rushed to hospital. And for everyone, little Nonna was very, very excited. She wanted to go to Disneyland.
Mm.
We had an entire trip planned for her, which has been now a devastating, unfortunately,
Yeah.
that trip's now not on the cards for her. So it led me to think about a week of things happening for a reason. So do I look at the fact that she's had a stroke in a negative? Because obviously it was, it's obviously going to be a new challenge for her. She's recovering, but clearly it's going to create some changes. Do we look at this now as a negative, that a stroke happened and be down and out about it, be angry, can't go on a holiday with her and da-da-da-da? Or do we look at it from a positive, that be grateful that it happened now rather than in the situation of being away? I mean, my mind was going a million miles an hour thinking,
Yeah.
what would we have done? Because literally we were meant to fly out next week.
Yeah.
Had this happened in
Yeah.
another country or on the plane or whatever,
Yeah.
where could this have gone? Like what circumstance? And then I started thinking about all the things in my life that have happened for a reason.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've generally always been a person that weighs up the positive rather than the negative.
Yeah.
But I am concerned about society and the community and the people around us and listeners and everyone, that I worry and I get concerned that often people take it down the negative path
Yeah.
rather than investing time to try and look at the positive, because genuinely for me, it was a positive thing now that she had it
Yes.
now
Yes.
rather than later or at that time.
Yeah.
How do you girls feel about that? What are your thoughts on the topic?
I think you have to feel both, because there's going to be that initial disappointment when something happens and you have to feel that. And the thing is, like you said, not to sit in it for too long. You know, you don't want to dismiss that at all. You have to let yourself feel that disappointment and be human. But exactly what you said, take the time then to sit with it and go, okay, maybe why is this happening? And sometimes we don't know. Sometimes, you know, there's hindsight. So, for instance, my daughter got diagnosed with a cyst in her brain. And we went to the most amazing specialist the other day. She won't mind me talking about this. He was just the most positive, most brilliant man I think I'd ever encountered, apart from my beautiful Texas and my son. Brilliant man, incredibly positive. And he went through his scans and he went through everything with her and explained it. And he pointed out another condition. And he said, you know, sometimes these things happen to alert you to something else, you know. And I thought, my gosh, you know, and then we went to this whole conversation about everything happening for a reason. And then he said to her, you need to go get an urgent eye test. And, you know, to make sure that this isn't this condition that I think you have. So she goes to get the eye test. And I thought, you know what? I haven't had an eye test in a long, long time. I should do this. And the lady said to me, how long has it been? I said, oh, about 5 or 6 years. She said, it was here. I said, yeah, it was here, you know. And she looked it up. It was 2009.
Oh, wow.
And so I was way overdue. But then they found a problem with my eyes. And my daughter's eyes turned out to be okay. Now, that whole chain of events, if my daughter hadn't had the cyst, hadn't had this, hadn't had that,
Led you to your...
it led to that. It's led her to a change of things with her life. So her and I have both had distinct changes that were nothing like what we thought would come from that original diagnosis.
Wow.
But if that original diagnosis hadn't happened, and mind you, that diagnosis of the cyst all came out because she had nodules on her throat and lost her voice. So it's this massive chain of events. And at the time, yeah, you know, I mean, she's obviously devastated thinking, Mum, you know, my brain. So yeah, you have to sit in that humanity of it and sit in that, okay, you know, feel what you got to feel. But looking back on it, I think hindsight's a wonderful thing. Now we look back on it and go, oh my gosh, there was a reason for this. And I think what's hard is that you have to trust in the
Process.
the process, because the hindsight does it. And what you'll find, you know, the way your dad shows it to me, is that when the time of the trip happens, he said to me that you'll look back and go, I'm so glad we didn't go. Let's say Maddie went in early and had the baby at that time.
We spoke about all of that.
Yeah.
There were so many things that we thought
Yeah.
were going to possibly
Exactly.
happen.
Or something else happens with the family, or let's say there's some sort of disaster there or something like that. There's some other crisis. And like literally my body is goosebumps right now.
We weren't meant to be
Yeah.
there at that time.
It saved you. And it's
Yeah.
really hard because at the time it's like, yeah, we get down because we should be in Disneyland, but something might happen 2-3 weeks from now where you go, I am so glad we were not on that plane, you know? And yeah, I think that's the thing. We have to feel what we feel, but we have to trust.
When we changed our Disneyland plans last
Yeah.
time, we changed it just before COVID got really bad, and then lucky we did.
We
Yeah.
were alerted to change it. Someone said to
Yeah.
us, I'm telling you, just you need to change everything now. Get you know, move it.
Yeah.
You're going to be stuck there if you go.
Wow.
And that's exact borders closed. We would
You're
be there
kidding.
and locked out in America.
Gosh.
So it's funny.
We would have met Texas, me.
Yes.
Oh, Texas. But, you know, on a positive thing for things also,
Yeah.
because obviously we're
Yeah.
talking about circumstances which are quite tragic or, you know, a negative to
Yeah.
positive. I also see things happen for a reason in positive
Oh,
aspects as well. Like,
absolutely.
I met my darling.
Yes.
Nightclub. I
Yes.
wasn't meant to be there. He wasn't meant to
Yeah.
be there, but we both were there.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love the things happening
I
for
do
a reason.
too.
And I hope, and I would love people who are feeling that they get stuck in the whirlpool
Yeah.
of the only thinking of the worst from it.
Yeah.
Trust me, try and enlighten yourself, because you will find that there was a positive reason for it,
Yeah.
and that can bring you out, and you'll find 100 more reasons positivity.
Yeah, I feel like every bad thing that you have is like a message for later.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love what you said. You know, your words, Danielle, are magic. Trust the process.
Mm.
You know, everything is happening for your highest good. And, you know, if I say to clients, obviously it's very triggering and upsetting if they've lost a child or something has happened. But even in those circumstances, something good always comes,
From it.
you know. And I know that people will be upset at me saying that, but something good always comes.
It's probably upsetting for those that, again, I think it's mindset. That they
Yes.
just can't see through to
Yes.
that light at the end of the tunnel and
Yeah.
why it's happening. Perhaps they question the process too much.
Well,
I'm not sure what
yeah.
processes goes on in their mind. Because for some people, I think it is just a huge challenge. Some people prefer to sit, I think, in that negative space as well.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
I think some people like and enjoy the thrill of bad shit.
No, you know what? I don't disagree with that.
I was working with a brilliant psychologist, amazing, amazing man. And we were working through some things. And he said, Mary, for everything, every action, there is a payoff. So every single thing we do, there is a payoff. So if we're particularly negative, there's a payoff for it. For instance, I know someone that is no longer talking to her family, gets great joy complaining about them. They've done nothing to her. And her family are like, what's going on? Like, we don't understand. We were so close. But she is getting so much sympathy from other people. There's a payoff for it. So sitting in that misery and being miserable and being woe is me is allowing her to have sympathy from others. So everything we do, there is a payoff. You know, I had a woman this week who is incredibly struck with grief at the loss of her mum. Now we know what that feels like. It's a horrible thing to lose a parent, and you're in grief, whether you lose anyone, a partner, a child. But it was 2 years on, and yeah, look, grief lasts a lifetime. It really does. But it was becoming an excuse for everything, so she didn't have to do other things. And we spoke about that candidly, and I absolutely commend her for her absolute honesty and courage and admitting, yes, I'm using this grief.
She's acknowledging.
Yeah.
She's acknowledging and being
Because-
accountable for that. Yeah.
Because she did want answers and she did want to grow. And it is a hard truth of, okay, there is grief there, but are you maybe exacerbating that grief? Are you maybe playing on that grief a little bit to then not have to maybe face some things that need facing? And I just am in such awe of her, and that she took that on, and really we got to speak about some incredibly positive things. But for everything, there is a payoff. So yeah, there are some people that like to sit in that because there's a payoff for it. They're getting something out of that.
You know, I think too,
Yeah.
when I look at, if we talk about the topic of grief, I think obviously different cultures as well and different people
Absolutely.
handle their grief very differently.
Yeah.
Traditionally in our Italian culture, you know, you're meant to mourn for like, you know,
Yeah.
XYZ weeks, days,
Yeah.
and a year later, all this stuff. My family have been quite the opposite.
Yes.
They don't like to sit in mourning.
No.
So as much they more want to celebrate a life, right? So
Yes.
it's been like that in my family, and which goes against some of, you know,
Yeah.
our other, you know, family and friends. And I felt like I'll never forget when Dad was, you know, when he passed away, and Mum actually had a really important wedding to go to that she
Yeah.
didn't want to miss out on. And there was this big question, you know, like, does she go to the wedding? Do we
Yeah.
take her? Do we not? Because now everyone's going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
And I remember saying to Mum, you know what? I said, let's look at the person Dad was for starters, right?
Yeah.
So the person who's passed,
Yeah.
he was non-traditional like that. He was very
Exactly.
respectful, went to every funeral. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about disrespecting the
Yeah.
process, but he was always a love of life person.
He was.
He loved dancing. He loved partying. He loves people. He would not, I said to Mum, he would not want you to miss out on this wedding,
Yeah.
you know, for your cousin. Right. So I said to him, sorry, Dad, I'm not talking to you right now. I said to Mum, I think you should go.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're not going to give a fuck about what
Yes.
anyone thinks, because this is our personal choice, your personal choice, and we know what Dad would want. Dad would
Yeah.
want us being miserable at home day in and day out, lighting candles, crying over him. We did all that.
Yeah.
We did it the day the
But
funeral.
she was so funny. Every time someone would cry, she would stop.
Yeah, stop crying.
Just enough. Stop.
Yeah.
She knows she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember saying that in the speech for him, like at the funeral. I remember saying that everyone crying, he'd be telling young sharks, like,
Yes,
not
yes.
crying. Like, why are you crying?
And I think,
so true.
and then yet I've had experiences where total opposite end of the scale, where it's designed to grieve.
Yes.
There's a design, like,
Yeah.
and there's a period,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But then what expectation do you put on people around you
Yeah.
to follow that? Because that's
Yeah.
a challenge when it's not accustomed to you.
Exactly.
And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how long do you support? How long is that expectation? And so when it goes back to this
Yeah.
point where someone is sitting in that grief and
Yeah.
then perhaps now acknowledging, I'm probably abusing this a little bit to get attention.
Yeah.
And then the expectation that they will put on everyone around them. When
Yeah.
my father passed away, we did not have that expectation.
Because some people
Yeah.
don't like it. Some people find it confronting.
My best friend Carmen, she will hear this, my trucking mate. I love you. She's been really unwell actually, so I'm hoping you're feeling better, babe. She called me. She'd lost her father 2 years prior, and she said, "Babe, you know how much I love you and I love your dad." She just, I cannot attend the funeral, and I was like, each to their own. It did not offend me because
Yeah.
for me, it was a trigger for her.
Yeah.
Because it just brought back, she was the apple of her dad's eye. She was the
Yeah,
apple
that's
candy of her
right.
dad. She struggled through his death. And I knew what it was like to struggle through dad's
Yeah.
death. Why would I want someone else to be miserable?
Exactly.
This is the part that I cannot understand. Why do people put an expectation that if you're in misery, okay, now you need to be in misery?
Exactly.
That really bothers me.
Yeah.
We're talking about that this week, in general.
Have we?
Yeah, we're talking because we were talking about how, like, in pregnancy, I find that when someone else can't, fall pregnant or whatever, it's like they punish you for it, that you're pregnant. And you just say, well, you're going to be happy for other people to be able to receive that as well
100%.
first.
Absolutely.
Not,
Yeah.
That's what I was going to tie into before about my little topic was going to be comparing other people.
Me and Sienna were talking about
Yeah,
that for a good
because
hour.
I found, that there's so much of it, especially with social media and all of that now. But even before then, like when I was saying to Nat the other day, I used to compare myself to Nat, even though she's 4 years old. I wouldn't look at that. I would just think, why aren't I doing that now? But then, like when she bought her house and then I turned 20 and I hadn't bought a house yet, I was like, why haven't I done that yet? But then I did like some self-reflecting and I was reading. Back then, I wouldn't think of like all the other factors that bring you into it. You just suck in that comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah.
And I was reading the Let Them theory, the Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
And listening to it, that's the part of the book that stood out to me was the comparison and comparing yourself to other people. And then I thought there was one point in my life where my brain kind of switched to more thinking of your glass being half full and half empty. And I thought I look at Nat as inspiring, not as I want to beat her, right? Like, do you understand?
We're definitely not comparing
Not as
to each other.
envy, more as inspiration. And I think that's where people sit in that jealousy of, oh, they have that, why don't I have that? Whereas you got to switch it to be, how can I really look up to it rather than be stuck in.
How can I make those achievements if that is enjoyable for your vision? But then sometimes that can lead to, are they doing it just because? There's a very big difference.
That's what she was trying to say. Their intention wasn't to be jealous. It was because she wants that too for herself.
Yeah.
So instead of being like, why don't I have it? She was, how can I?
Yeah, like how do you reflect on yourself to be like, okay, they have this, this, and this, but I want it my way, and I want to do it because I want to do it, not because someone else is doing it at the exact same time I need it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm noticing it a lot and like reflecting on everybody in my life and what I've done and all of that. And then once you do, good things come to you when you're focused on your own life, not comparing yourself either to celebrities and stuff. I find is easier than doing that with people in your immediate circle. Like if I was comparing myself to Nat, it felt like I wasn't doing it fast enough or whatever because she's 4 years older than me and all the rest. But if I was comparing myself even in business and stuff, it holds you back when you're comparing.
Absolutely.
Well, I think
Absolutely.
too, I look at it from the space, I'm like the baby of the family. I'm only one of two anyway. And for me, things didn't come easy, but happened a lot faster. So I got married at 22, 23, pregnant by 23, nearly 4. Whereas for my sister, her milestones were different. She was traveling. She had great things happening. She was doing a lot of other different to me.
Yeah.
But then obviously the marriage component was 10 years post. And I remember her and I having a lot of conversations because one time, and she'll remember this, she said to me, "Oh, I can't believe you're getting married before me and I'm the older sister." And that bothered me at the time because I was like, well, I can't help the fact that I've met someone at the time and space that I did. Like, should this be? And then it sort of made me a little bit paranoid. Like, what am I not supposed to? Yeah. Whereas she was traveling, I was studying, so I was sort of held back in travel. I didn't get to travel. My travel happened when I met my man.
Yeah.
So I did zero travel. I didn't do these, holidays and all that sort of stuff. I was breastfeeding at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I know that feeling.
And then when I was pregnant, it was the same thing. Yeah.
Would have been like at that time in her life, she'd be like, fuck doing that. I want to go on a holiday.
Well, she was about travel. When she
that's
was
what
in
I'm
her early and her teens, she was all about travel.
Yeah, like we got friends that are kind of having 2 kids at our age. Like, oh, we've got so many things.
But then what? Suddenly you hit 30 and you decide, oh, I want a kid now too. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I was never like that. I didn't. And to be honest, I was never looking. It's funny, like coming from, we'll talk about siblings and stuff, but from a younger person, the baby or the family's perspective, I was never looking at her being the older sister thinking, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. I need it to be the same ever. I had totally different visions for my life. Totally different.
Want to go to travel. You were worried
That's what I'm saying, but I wasn't even looking at her and going, oh, wow, you're traveling. I'm so jealous while I'm studying.
Yeah.
It was like, it didn't even come to me as an epiphany. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I had zero interest in what
other people were doing.
Interest. I don't mean it that way. I mean that it was not
zero
that I was
competitiveness.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody still compares in other aspects. Yeah. Whether it's just siblings or in business or in other things, you see like, how can I do better? But sometimes you get stuck in that little negative
spirit.
Why aren't I being like that?
Just dropped a bomb on me. And they said that, I love when they do that. They do. Yeah, it's a light bulb moment. Thank you, Spirit. I'll try not to blow things up with them. They said that it is about connection. That when we're comparing, it's because we no longer fit. So you wanted the same thing that Nat wanted. And if she's moving forward, you two aren't connecting the same way. Yes, there's a part that you wanted. So there's showing me there's an underlying theme of not connecting. And I thought about, as you were talking about, a situation with a beautiful friend of mine who'd been a best friend for nearly 20 years. And it's been fading and drifting. And I think about why. And there was an element there where I was picking up a sense of jealousy from her and it was hurting me. But when I look at it now, I realize it's because we no longer were connecting. We both actually had same things that we loved. Like she wants the life, I suppose, I was living or wanted that. And because we are the same person, but because I was a step ahead of the game, I don't think it was so much about the jealousy because I know deep in her heart she'd be happy for me. Like deep in your heart, you're happy for Nat. But it's that thing of, oh, we're not connecting anymore. And Spirit said the key to this and where you did with your sister, they said because you were always your own unique person. For you, that need to connect maybe wasn't as strong. So you two had a very strong connection. You and your sister had a strong connection, but not as strong as what you two have. And so you were always, even as the baby, your own person.
Just everyone knows, both sisters are complete opposite. They do not look like sisters. They probably always felt that.
But you weren't scared to speak up or say what you think or how you feel, even if it meant you were going to get into trouble. So for you, it was okay to not do that. That's why you didn't have to compare. You were so strong within yourself. And that's what Spirit said. They said that the thing with this is work on your uniqueness and being strong in you. And it's not about so much self-esteem or confidence. It's about it's okay to be in your own space and your own energy and not have that connection.
Do you know the
you don't have to fit in a circle.
The interesting conversation for me here that my light bulb moment is that I wasn't the strongest person internally.
No.
Too.
Oh,
So
you were actually.
Mate,
Yeah, I'm going to debate
Well,
that.
maybe there is right, but I'm telling you how I felt.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I was heavily bullied growing up, like tragically bullied, and
Yeah.
I knew I kept that very much to myself.
Yep.
I had
Strength.
extreme confidence issues. I was overweight. I was always the one that when, she was very tiny. So if you turned up to a family event, they'd go, "Oh, hello, little
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
so cute." I always felt judged by my weight, and I was a bigger girl and she was the tiny one.
But you still got up and did it. Strength.
Correct. So for me, I was very inner. I had zero confidence in myself internally, right? I was dying.
Yeah.
And that then in turn affected me at school because then I allowed myself to get bullied.
Mhm.
But then suddenly this bitch came out. And maybe when I was about 16, I suddenly realized, I didn't got to stop listening to the outer and just start feeding off what I want and who I was, what I wanted to achieve now, what my goals were. I didn't care. When I told my parents I was going to study painting and art and went and did a university degree, my dad said to me, "You stupid. What are you going to do with this?" And I said, "I don't know. Something will happen with it." And I became a photographer.
I love that.
And I made money from it. And then
Love
he's like,
that.
"Oh, you can make money from this?" Yes, make a lot of money from this. So interestingly, it was now my mission to prove
That you could
myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But only
So-
to yourself. And that's what
Yeah.
is amazing is you weren't proving it to anyone else. You're proving it to yourself. And I think in some way it's an advantage. Like I was very heavily bullied in similar experiences. And it was a blessing because I didn't have that luxury of fitting in, which meant I learned how I had to be my own person and love myself and be unique and give myself the things that other people couldn't give me. So because I didn't fit, it was a benefit. So now as I walk through life, I don't really care about what other people do. And having been bullied, I can't compare to other people because it's triggering for me because I know what it's like when other people put you down or do that. I couldn't bear to do that to someone. If I'm comparing, I feel like I'm judging them the way that I was judged.
And I think now, and I don't know about how you ladies might feel, because I don't believe you've just been bullied at school. Not
Different generation.
Different generation. Yeah. So you perhaps have a different perspective. But I feel like now, even sometimes now that I'm obviously older, people misinterpret my confidence. They don't know my history to understand why I don't take shit now, why I won't be walked all over, why I will tell you what I think. I try to do my best to be tactful, but I no longer just sit back and go, "Oh yeah, I'll just cop that. Oh yeah, I'll just cop that." And perhaps sometimes I feel circles around and even perhaps people that don't know me, even being judged online now, they don't understand my confidence.
Yes.
There because I need to continue that because that's where it keeps me authentic.
When you were asked have we been bullied, I actually thought about something on that topic the other day. All kids are impressionable when they're at school. So starting from year 7 all the way to, year 12, they're still, 13 to 12 to 17. That is an age where all of them are insecure. They're all looking for somebody to, give them a little, "Oh, you look nice today." When you think about every person at school, boys or girls, they're making sure they put their deodorant on. They're doing their hair good. Then make sure they put mascara. If someone tells them they put mascara, still put mascara. Obviously, some kids to an extent are way worse, but what you guys already explained happened to you guys. But I think in everybody's circle, everybody has had moments in school where they've felt like I was telling Jared, I remember when I was in kindergarten, I remember just walking up and down and not having friends on the first few. I don't remember kindergarten having friends. And I remember just walking up and down. And he goes, "You know what? I have that exact same memory. I don't even have friends." I remember having lunch and sitting by myself. And I said, "Is this like an experience that everybody had?" And we all just, and he goes, because I remember just sitting with my lunch and not knowing the other kids. And he goes, "I was the exact same." So I thought to myself, maybe everyone felt the same when they were at school. Yeah, obviously there's different extents, but I still think all the kids at that age, they're kids. They're still like I said, impressionable.
Well, these are the ages that challenge us. At those years, we are entering different social spheres. So this is where our identity is now challenged.
Yeah.
That's how we form it. So we all are going to go through that.
People have all had the same experience somehow.
Yeah, it's just different for all of us. And it's how our identity gets challenged, and it's how we use it. And for parents of teenage children, that's when we think, how can we support our child's identity? Identity is really important. And it brings me back to something we had, in class recently where, we were talking a little bit, about relationships and friendships. And it did come up about how ruthless I can be. I could be very ruthless. I could be quite cold and cut something off and walk away from it. But I was also explaining, because one of the women was struggling to cut off something that was very toxic for her, very, very toxic friendship. And I explained to her, though, that by doing that, it makes you very authentic with the people that you just love. So for everyone else watching her, and she's a businesswoman, and I said, if you are going to be that person that you are giving time to all the wrong people and the wrong things, then the right people also don't know that it's genuine. So people who know me know that I don't give my time to what I don't value. So if I'm giving you my time, I really value you and I really love you. That's what you were saying, Danielle, about it's about being authentic. What you are is very authentic. If you give me time, I know you love me and you mean it, because you're someone who stands by her word. You're very genuine. And I think we need to be a bit more like that. I think we need to stop denouncing people for being able to be assertive and saying, no, sorry, that isn't for me, or this isn't that, because when I tell you I love you, I mean it. But if I'm someone who just says that to everyone, then,
Oh, geez, you look beautiful today.
Exactly.
It's not that. It's not genuine, like.
yeah,
We can feel that. You can feel it. That difference.
you absolutely can.
I don't tell someone you have a really nice dress on if I don't like the dress you got on.
Exactly.
I can't do it. No, it's not in me. So if I'm giving you a compliment, I genuinely mean it. And don't give me a compliment because you want me to like you.
Exactly.
Or feel good about myself. Guess what? I just walked out this morning, I look like fucking shit. So, you don't tell me that I look beautiful today, but I don't until the end. Because it's like they want a reaction.
Exactly. The people in your world then know. So if I'm seeing, someone being fake with someone else in the sitting there with me, I think, oh my gosh, they're being fake with me as well. But if people see, like, let's say you or me turn around and go, look, I'm sorry, that's not for me, then when I say to them, oh, I accept this, they trust that. So I think we have an obligation to be assertive so that the people we are actually being kind to and loving know that it's genuine. It's an authentic thing. And I think that we need to not be scared to say no. You talk about being hard, but I actually don't think you're hard at all. I think you have the most loving heart. And I think you're just very authentic.
I think too, like I said, the process of what I went through as a and that was really hard. I mean, year 8, year 9, oh my God, that was the worst 2 years of my life. Like I said, taught me I didn't need people to like me. Because that's what it was all about. I just wanted a group to call me home, but feel accepted. Because I was different. I was just different. And I was someone that if I didn't like something, I said, no, I don't like it. Or if I knew someone was lying, I'd call them out.
I'm still like that now. We could say I have 10 friends because you could name 100 of them. But are any of them actually go tell them my everyday life? No.
But because, again, you've already learned that you don't need to have 50,000 people to love you if it's not real. And it starts to go, okay, like, I don't need it.
Because I find with those big groups, like even in you guys' age, they have big groups of friends and you can just see where they're just pretending to be that close and they're not. They're just like, they've seen each other once every 3 months.
Right? A big group? I never have that.
You have close friends, like I've got 2 that probably I would talk to about anything, and then I have great acquaintances.
Exactly.
And they're lovely people, and I consider them friends, but they're not people that
not the person you're going to say,
exactly.
oh my God,
exactly. I think you have your people, and then I think you have friends.
No, but I think that still changes all the time.
I'm also learning, and I don't know about you, Mary, but I'm also so in times of difficult times, like I had the worst week
of
Yeah.
my life, obviously. No, not the worst week, but it was a pretty shitty
Hard
week.
one.
Yeah, it was her 50th, guys. She's 50.
Yay. And it was
Happy
not a
birthday.
celebration.
And your birthday too, no?
Birthday. Woo! And no, it was not a celebration. And the one thing I really took away from, and this has happened a couple of times now, when you're going through a tough week, no one really knew
Yeah.
what my week was.
Yeah.
The hell that I went through on
Yeah.
a few different scenarios that were going on, not just one. I had a
Yeah.
multitude of scenarios going on. And I'm celebrating my birthday, but when they rang me to say happy birthday, majority didn't know that
Yeah.
what the week I'd been through. And that sort of made me realize, are they really my people? Because they should have
Yeah.
known, right? Why didn't they know? Well, there's a
There's
number of reasons why
twofold.
they wouldn't know, right? One, didn't bother to ring them and tell them.
Yeah.
I had no energy to, and I didn't want to give my
Yeah.
energy to them. But secondly, it showed me how, well, they don't really contact me.
Yeah.
So how would they know?
Yep.
No, they had to find out through the grapevine,
Yep.
which I found that interesting as well. Do you know what I mean? It sort of
Yeah.
taught me a bit of a
It is
a lesson.
twofold because I went through similar things with that. And I thought, my gosh, there's no one who actually is calling to care. And then I realized, but hold on, I haven't rang anybody and told anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't call them.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to reflect on your own
But then I
actions.
thought the reason I didn't call them and tell them is because I know if I call them and tell them, they're not going to be able to give me the support that I need. They may give me a moment of sympathy, but I don't need sympathy.
Yeah, you didn't need that.
I
Yeah.
don't need people to be, oh, we're sorry, or it's terrible, or if they can't fix the problem, I'm not going to call them. So I think that one of the things that we do, well, I know me personally, you're probably the same. We're very used to just dealing with things on our own. And because we don't need the sympathy, we just take
We don't rely on it.
the sympathy is actually a bit draining for us to have to be on the phone and have someone take up time.
But I tell you,
Yeah.
I'm
And we
gonna
don't
say
like to do
something
the
that's gonna
negative.
piss a lot of people off
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I've learnt something. So if I've ever texted anyone
Yeah.
in a shitty moment, I'm
Yeah.
going to apologise to you right now that I didn't pick up the phone because
Yeah.
it made me realise
Yeah.
during my event this week, don't fucking text me to say how you going.
Yeah.
I actually really felt shit by that.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
actually didn't feel like you cared.
Yeah.
So I've probably done this. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe this was spirit reminding me, okay, this is how
Yeah.
I feel, so don't fucking do it to anyone ever again.
Yeah.
So if I've ever done that to anyone and just simply texted you to say, oh, how are
Yeah.
you, without picking up the phone, knowing
Yeah.
a pretty big situation,
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm never going to do that again because I had it happen to me and it didn't feel nice. It actually felt ugly. I'm just texting you because I know I have to.
I was going to say, can I piss off people more?
Yeah.
Because
I generally am a person that will call first. I like to think I am, though, but maybe I haven't in the past.
But sometimes I'd rather the text because the call can be a bit much.
I think it depends on who's
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Again, what's the connection? So if it was
Yeah.
me randomly calling a distant friend and want to be nosy,
Yeah.
different. I'm
Yeah.
talking about more of an immediate.
Yeah.
Like when I knew, I think you were unwell and we're not even that connected. I didn't know if you were in hospital, out of hospital. My first thought was, I'll try calling.
Yeah.
You obviously couldn't answer. And then you replied a few days later with a text saying, sorry, Danny, but my phone, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? It's understandable. It's feasible. I'm just, this is different.
But with you, the difference is I felt care.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring that when you said, you're apologizing to people. The difference is when you do it, Danny, you care.
Yeah.
And what I find hard is when people call or text and it feels like, and this is going to offend people, but this is where we have to check ourselves. It feels like you're doing it because you feel you either have to or because you want to keep the friendship with me or you want to get closer to me. One of my big gripes is where people will try to enter my life because they want to be closer to me, but they don't really know me or care about me. They just want to know Mary King or be a friend with Mary King, and that's fine. I want to be everyone's friend, but don't cross that line if you don't really care and you don't really know me.
Yeah.
If something's happening, there needs to be some boundaries. There needs to be some space of don't be nosy, just get close.
Yeah. Just
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, when you want to get into a circle with someone and you you try to insert yourself. So I think where I have a hard time with it is where people will ask how I am or do things to insert themselves. And, it's very few. Look, 9 times out of 10, everyone is so genuine and kind and loving, and I feel the love and I feel it. And it's wonderful and I appreciate it. But then there might be that 1 out of 10 where I think, oh, you're just trying to get close for your
benefit.
your agenda.
Your own agenda.
Yeah, and I don't need that right now. This isn't about us having a genuine friendship. It's not about us having a genuine connection. You want something else from me. Yeah, and that's why you're doing this. And I think that's where it gets hard, is where, for all of us, it doesn't matter who we are, we all have those people that sometimes just want to get close for the wrong reasons. It might be that sister-in-law that wants to get close to get the gossip, so she's asking how you are. It might be, the boss trying to do this, or someone trying to do it to their boss to get that pay rise. And those situations are rare, but when they happen, God, you feel them. You really, really feel them. Yeah.
So we're going to have to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah, we've had some fun.
Snatty, you're all good. She's ready to pop it out, get it out.
I wouldn't want to get in.
Not long to go. How many weeks getting out?
Yeah.
I don't know how many weeks. I feel like I've got what?
Got 5
Next
weeks.
week on Thursday it will be 1 month left. Yeah, I have this feeling.
It's going to come early.
Not early, but I just have this feeling that I'm gonna still feel labour and go like I'll have my peaceful C-section, but I just have this feeling like
it's not going to be on the schedule.
No, I feel like they'll come a bit earlier. I've been getting cramps and whatever, but I don't know.
I think you'll be.
Hopefully it's not a day or that's forward.
Yeah, Nora shows me it'll be a day.
Oh,
He
good.
said
That's
you'll make it. He said you'll make it.
I'm gonna waddle.
You'll be waddling. Yeah.
It's going to bake in a little bit.
So, just for reference, guys, Noah was we went for an ultrasound. When I was 31 weeks pregnant with Noah, he was 1.5 kilos. This baby is 2 kilos already. Well, he was a week ago.
Have they set the date though earlier already?
Yes.
It's 39 weeks.
Yeah.
Because you showed me they've set the date earlier.
Yeah, by way.
They're only always.
You don't want to go past 39 with this baby. Yeah.
Big Bubba. He's going to be a full killer.
She's 500 kilos already, more than Noah.
500 kilos?
500.
Wow. That's a big fucking baby.
You know what?
It's your pussy and not mine.
I didn't even register that. I'm sitting here like, oh yeah.
Stitching it up like a C-section.
I love that.
Beautiful people.
Hi, beautiful people.
Let's get into it.